Hello everyone, my name is Nigel Welton, welcoming you back to the lounge in another video. And today is going to be our second episode of my multi-part series on a crash course in mechanical watches. So just to recap quickly, yesterday we talked about what actually gives a mechanical watch energy, and I gave you the demonstration with my belt wound up very tightly, and you saw that when I let go it expanded, and that's essentially what's happening with the mainspring in a watch, a mechanical watch that is. So what we're going to talk about today is how the watch actually manages that energy, because as you saw yesterday in my demonstration, the belt quickly expanded, and that's what would happen if there was absolutely no regulation in a watch. So you would wind it up and then it would just expand and you'd see hands flying all over the place. You wouldn't have time to check anything and it wouldn't tell any time. So basically what I'm going to talk about is the two main factors that help regulate the speed of a watch, and that's the gear train as well as the escapement mechanism itself. Now, the gear train is essentially just using ratios to make it so that at the beginning of the gear train where the mainspring is, that wheel, because it's a significant amount larger than the other ones, for every turn it makes, it will make the last gear in the gear train go much quicker. So basically what you're doing is just using gear ratios to sort of extend the life of the mainspring itself. Now, the escapement, on the other hand, is a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to show you the balance wheel in a Seiko watch that I have here right now so that you can get a bit of a visual, and I'll explain to you what exactly you're seeing. So what you're seeing right in the middle of your screen right now is the balance wheel and hairspring combination actually at work. Now, it looks like it's spinning very quickly, which it is, but don't be confused into thinking that it is actually spinning, for it is actually going back and forth in an oscillating motion, which is creating that oscillation to unlock and lock the pallet fork, which you'll see momentarily here. But if you can also see, the spring inside there, the hairspring, looks like it's expanding and contracting because it is unwinding and then rewinding itself based on its own impulse. So kind of neat there. That's what's unlocking and locking your lever escapement. What you guys just saw in that last little clip there was the balance wheel itself going like this, turning back and forth and so on. And that's because there's a tiny little hairspring, and now some watches use silicone to make that hairspring. But what it's doing is unwinding, then winding itself back up, and instead of making a spinning motion like it looks like the watch is doing, it's going back and forth, back and forth. And that's got a little piece on it that is clicking to lock and unlock the lever. And I'll show you a diagram of a lever escapement right now. Lever escapements are the most common escapements used in watchmaking right now because they've been around since like the 1750s, and it's tried and true and works very well. So what you're seeing there, as I said, is the balance wheel turning, and that's creating a vibration which locks and unlocks the rest of the watch, so that you can control how quickly it's ticking. So what you're hearing is that lever locking and unlocking when you hear a mechanical watch work. And when it locks and unlocks, it allows the wheels to spin, and then everything complication-wise and time is based off that spinning of those wheels. On your screen right now you have an animation of a Swiss lever escapement that I've found online. Now what you're seeing is the escape wheel at the bottom is turning because of the actions of the lever escapement. So it should also be noted that your oscillator, also known as your balance wheel and hairspring combination there, are leaching a little bit of energy from the watch itself that's created from that mainspring. Now it uses a very minimal amount, but some is being taken away by that. The rest is being transferred through the escape wheel, but it can only be transferred at a regulated rate or frequency by the lever escapement itself. So what you're seeing is as that oscillator goes back and forth, it is locking and unlocking the lever escapement just based on the shape and how that's all working out together. So if you want to get really deep into it, there is an extremely complex amount of mathematics that goes on there to figure out just different angles and things like that, but we won't bother getting into that. That would come in a later video, if anything at all. But so as that's unlocking and locking, it makes it so that your escape wheel is turning, and that's what all of the actions that your watch is doing is based off of, because as that turns, it goes so many beats per minute or vibrations per hour, and then you can base the hand movement off that. And that's for hands, that's for date, apertures on your watch and everything. So really what it comes down to is every watch is going to have an escapement like that, because as we mentioned in the beginning of this video, the watch would just go crazy if there was nothing regulating its movements. So I hope you enjoyed that animation, and I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned a little bit more about mechanical watches. Once again, my name's Nigel Welton for Horolounge.